Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Spiritually Fucked podcast. I'm your host, Taylor Mulholland. Let's get into the show. Happy New Year, everyone. Time isn't even real, but you know what? I am going to celebrate, and it's an excuse to restart my life, which I feel like I'm always needing to restart my life. Um, anyways, I missed you, so we're gonna get straight into it. And I have been purposely MIA for a bit, and it's been great. I am thriving, and I'm updating you on how I am thriving and what's alive in my life right now, and wrapping up the last few months of 2025 and going into 2026 strong. And as an astrologer now, I am very aware that the new year is not until Aries season in April, okay? But I'm a human being and everyone's celebrating New Year's Eve, and I'm already over explaining myself, but happy fucking New Year, okay, motherfuckers? Happy that you're here. And if you are here, thanks. It's been a great journey. What is this, episode 19, 20? I don't know. I feel really comfortable in my setup. It's only taken 20 fucking episodes, and yeah, so that's like 2 minutes. So let me just drop in really quick and go ahead and share what the fuck I was going to share. And that is that I'm really happy where I'm at in my life right now. And the end of 2025 was the last few sheddings of what I needed to fucking shed. And it came through uncomfortable lessons, but damn, but the kind of uncomfortable that feels really fucking good. Kind of like that feeling when you get into an ice bath and you're like, fuck, this is so uncomfortable, but it's almost like intoxicating because your endorphins are running and your body starts to like freak out a bit, but you know it's good for you. And so you relax into it. And that was the last few months. And I want to start by sharing, I guess, the overview of what that is for me. And it's that I return to myself. And sometimes we have to get lost or put our faith in others to remind us that the faith was always rooted in ourselves, or quote unquote supposed to be, or that's just where the magic is when you do return to yourself. And this last few months of 2025, I guess I'll just spill the tea. I was in a cohort, an online cohort, and it was great. I'm not gonna lie. Like, the girls that were in it, I really admire the teacher, but the reason I stopped podcasting was because for, I think it was like an 8 week thing, 12 week, I don't fucking know. Time isn't even real. It was all a blur. Um, I was just absorbing her content. Like, I need to get the most out of this course before it expires. So I was just constantly like absorbing her content and like falling to sleep to listening to her and like waking up and listening to her and just trying to absorb everything I fucking could. And it's so funny because I look back at these weeks that I was in this cohort, how miserable I was. And here's a spiritual community. Here is a spiritually fucked um, tidbit or section that I would like to talk about one time. And it's that when you are working with quote unquote spiritual teachers or whatever, and you start to feel really uncomfortable or the teachings just don't align, they'll tell you that it's your ego. And again, I can agree on this. You know, ego doesn't like change, it doesn't want you to do the work. And so the entire time I was in this cohort, I was being told that my ego doesn't want change. And I was beating myself up like, fuck you, ego. You just don't want to do the work because you don't want change, blah, blah, blah. And at the end of it, I just came to the conclusion that not everyone's teachings are for everyone. And I was trying to shove myself in this box of someone else's, when in reality, I just needed to create my own box. And so I look back at the weeks I was in it, and there was a lot of potent, great information. I'm not going to downplay that, but it just wasn't for me. You know, my whole podcast is about romanticizing the human experience, not downplaying it and saying that you need to fix yourself from the human experience. It's like, no, how can we be humans and absolutely squeeze out and enjoy as much life out of it? And of course, heal, whatever the fuck that means. Just how can we be the best human that we can be? How can we fall back in love with life again? How can we fall in love with ourselves? How can we fall in love with others and not just always trying to fix yourself? And, you know, the last few podcasts I posted, I talked so much about reflections and like all this shit, and that was her teachings. And I'm like, is that what I want to be teaching? I don't think so. I think I want to be teaching what I want to be teaching. And as soon as that cohort ended, I said my goodbyes. I said thank you next. And holy smokes, it's like my life 180'd. And I was in love with my life again because I wasn't absorbing anyone else's content. And there are definitely some things I took from it, and I'm really grateful that I did it. But the main thing that I did take from the cohort wasn't the teachings. It was that I am my own best teacher, period. And I say that and not in a egotistic spiritual teacher's way, like everyone should listen to me. No, no one should listen to me. Everyone should listen to themselves. And we are merely just here to guide each other home. And for me, I am guided home constantly by finding the wrong teachings or by listening to other stories. That is the point of this podcast, was to tell and share stories, not only from me, but from others. I'll get there, okay? But that's how we lead each other home. We're not telling each other what to do. We're sharing stories of how we figured it out. And I have it in my bio, my Instagram bio, still trying to figure things out or something like that. I've had it for the past 3 years and I just can't seem to change it because we're always just trying to figure it out. Even our parents, our grandparents, people who are on their fucking deathbed, they're still trying to figure it out till the end of time. And the experience I had in this cohort was that they had it all figured out, and like we had to fit ourselves in the boxes of what they figured it out. And I realized that just doesn't work for me. And, you know, I ended it, and I have a lot of gratitude for the people that were in it. And like, again, amazing, top-notch, fucking elite humans. But it just wasn't for me. And I personally resonate more with meditation. As soon as I fucking ended that shit and started meditating again, oh my God, I fell back in love with life again. Because I was silent. I sat in the silence of my own self. And if you've never done that before, magic hits hard, because you start to realize that the emptiness, or that the silence, is so potent because you're empty. There's no distractions. You're not distracted. You're not constantly listening to podcasts that are bypassing your feelings, or you're simply feeling it instead of trying to heal it. And that is the statement that I learned at the end of 2025, is to feel it and stop trying to heal it. And I realized that, wow, things started to quote unquote heal faster when I just started to fucking feel it, instead of saying, oh, I got a reflection. Oh my God, I got ghosted again. What does this mean? What does this mean about myself? What is wrong with me? And how can I fix it? And that is a false sense of control. When you're constantly taking your experiences and trying to twist them into teaching lessons immediately instead of trying to just feel it. Because, oh, if this person ghosted me and I figure out the reflection behind this and why this person left me, and then why am I ghosting myself in my life? If I can fix this, I have control again. You guys, that's a lot of brain work. That's a lot of fucking energy, and it's a false sense of control. You can do it. You can do whatever the fuck you want in this life, okay? And if you want to live life like that, you go You go for it. I'm not saying what's right and wrong. I'm just sharing what I'm experiencing and what I've experienced, and that is wrong for me. I don't want to try to figure it out immediately. I want to feel it. Maybe I should change my bio to feeling things out. Still trying to feel things out, because that's the fucking point, is to feel. Humans are the only beings that can feel. I don't know if that's true. I heard it one time and it kind of sounds poetic to me. I want to feel shit. And after that cohort, after the cohort, I started doing my meditations again. I got back into my witchy shit, okay? I got back into my card readings. I got back into using my pendulum. I got back into fucking trusting myself. I got back into sitting with myself and using my toolboxes, not someone else's. And I just started to use things that reminded me of who I am and, my ancestor work. And it's so weird because life started to feel magical again because I returned to myself. And if you could take anything from this story, is that if something doesn't feel right, there is this weird line between if it is your ego or if it just simply isn't aligned. And for me, I didn't feel right for those 9-12 weeks I was in it. To me, that is something that's not aligned. And as soon as I ended it, I realized that I felt so much better returning to what I know. And it's like the week after, I'm like, holy shit, my body shifted. My relationships shifted. I had the most money in my bank account for the entire year. For some reason, all this money fucking finally fell into my lap because my lap was attracting it. And I was not getting fucked by life. I was fucking life again. And it was really, I guess I got my money's worth out of the program, but just not in the way that I imagined it. And, I went through all the emotions. I had grief because I felt like I missed out. And then because I'm like, wait, but this teaching doesn't apply to me. I'm not like everyone else. Oh no, there's something wrong with me. And I'm like, wait, I'm not meant for this tribe, or I'm not meant for these teachings. And I should have just listening to my fucking gut in the beginning. And this is the problem with group mind virus and marketing these days and social media is you're going to think you need everything. And everyone is so good at marketing and putting themselves out there and thinking that you need healing and you need up leveling and you need to do better in your business and you need to improve your relationships and you need to heal your body and you need to do everything. And it's like, but do you want to? That's the radical choice of free will we have. It's like, do you want to? Do you want to constantly be aching and tearing yourself apart for healing? Don't get me wrong. Some people need healing. I needed healing. When my ovaries were dead, I needed healing. And I needed those courses or I needed those medicines. I needed the things externally to help. But I'm at a place in my life where it's like, I don't really need anything except to experience and romanticize life again. And I've had some really beautiful conversations with friends and with people who aren't in the spiritual community. And I realized that is what's up-leveling me. That is how I am growing, is just having fucking conversations, being in community, experiencing life, not sitting at home on a fucking laptop or, I don't know, constantly being by myself doing embodiment work. Like, all that stuff is really helpful and like I do that, but at what point are you using that as an escape, or are you using that to spiritually bypass what you're fucking feeling? Like, just sit and feel. And dude, I got so sick. I got so sick after this ended. It's so interesting. It's like my body was purging. My body was maybe it was up leveling because I finally decided to fucking relax and return to myself. And I got really sick. And well, I didn't get really sick, but I got icky sicky. Okay. I didn't feel great. And one of the symptoms was a stuffy nose. And it's so funny. Everything is so funny. I don't even know if I should say it's funny anymore or if it's just fucking interesting because I grew up with horrible stuffy noses. And if you want to crack the reflection, since we're talking about it, it's like your nose filters things, and my nose was stuffy. So, like, what am I not filtering? What am I not feeling? And I was laying in bed and I'm just like, what the fuck? I'm so pissed. Like, I can't breathe. I have to breathe out of my mouth. I'm a mouth breather. Like, I need to take my mouth shut. And it's so hard to sleep when your nose is stuffy. I'm sure you know what that's like. And I kept trying to crack this reflection and I kept saying, okay, what am I not filtering in my life? My nose is stuffy. Oh my gosh, I can't breathe. I can't nourish myself with oxygen because my life's filter is congested or it's inflamed. And instead, I just said, brain, stop. Please just stop and let's just feel what it feels like. And it took a few seconds. And I sat there and I felt the inflammation in my nose and I felt the stuffiness and I felt the frustration. And I was just so frustrated and like angry. And I just sat with that. I am not kidding you. 90 seconds goes by and I could breathe out of my nose. It was a goddamn miracle because I finally just sat with the sensations. I sat with the feeling and I let it arrive. I returned to myself. I said, it is safe to feel this way. Body, whatever you have to show me, just fucking show me. Like, I'm gonna sit here with you. I'm gonna sit and feel the stuffy nose and all these emotions. I was just aggravated and, frustrated and inflamed. And I just really sat with a full body somatic feeling of this stuffy nose. And it disappeared. I woke up, I was fine. I'm not kidding you. I think I did the neti pot for the next 2 days just to kind of clear it out, and I was fine. That's all I needed was to sit and feel the sensation. I needed no subconscious work. I needed no thinking. I needed no trying to figure it out with my brain. I just sat and felt with the sensation and it dissipated. And I'm like, oh, what a life lesson this was. Instead of, you know, I like to use the ghosting example a lot because, granted, that's happened to me in my life, but it's just such a good example because it's like, oh, I am constantly ghosted. Men ghost me. My friends ghost me. It's so easy to get your brain involved. Like, well, why is everyone leaving me? Am I leaving myself? Am I doing this wrong? Am I doing that wrong? What if you just sat and you said, or you didn't say anything, you just felt what it felt like to be ghosted? Like, what does it feel like for that person to not respond to you? Oh, you feel grief in your heart, this hollowing in your chest. Like, where is that coming from in your body? And then you just sit with that in your body, and then things will just naturally come up because you're sitting with the natural alchemical process of emotions, of life. And one of the things that this program taught me in like an opposite way, it taught me by showing me what I don't want, is that I don't want to use my brain to try to figure everything out, rather just returning to alchemy. The last few months, I've just been in this whole Carl Jung alchemical process of natural death and rebirth, and it really is returning to nature. And when you return to nature, you are returning to yourself because your body is nature. Your body is the earth. We are all the elements. And I'm like, wait, that's how I should live, right? Like, I'm kind of like a little nature witch. Like, I collect feathers and sticks and rocks, and I have my altars, and I feel at home when I am laying in the dirt and all dirty and laying in the sun and listening to the fucking breeze. I don't know, animals. Like, I'm just so infatuated by life and nature. and the rawness of it. And I've been a dog sitter for the past 11 years, and I just sit and fucking stare at these dogs, and I'm just like, you are really the teachers, because when they're hungry, they let you know, and when they want pets, they let you know, and when they need to lay in the sun, they just fucking lay in the sun, and they don't put sunscreen on, and they fucking show their genitals to the fucking sun, and they lay in the grass and roll in the grass, and then they eat grass when their tummy hurts because they just know, and they just follow their instincts. And if we grew up with puppies, and if you ever watched puppies give birth, it's just like the mom just knows what the fuck to do. She sits and gives birth, and then she just eats the placenta because that's what her intuition is telling her to do. And I'm like, oh, well, why don't I just follow my instincts? Why don't I just follow my natural rhythm? Why don't I just follow my intuitive hunches instead of trying to follow everyone else's? Maybe I'm inspired by them, but you know who I'm really inspired by? Is nature. You look at the seasons. You guys, just look at the fucking seasons. Winter, death. Leaves. Or let's start with fall. Fall, leaves fall. And then winter comes, and those leaves that have fallen sink into the earth, and then they go down into the earth, and then they create nutrients, and they die. They die, and then they create the nutrients for the spring, and then spring blooms, and then I don't know what the fuck happens in the summer. The sun comes out, and everything's like shiny, and then fall harvest, and it's like, it's this. Listen, I'm not a scientist when it comes to the seasons, but that's what happens. That's just what my observation, Taylor's eyes, has seen in this life, is that the seasons do their thing and no one is telling them what to do. They just do it. And that's alchemy. And alchemy goes through this process of like, again, I'm not an expert on this. I look at things and I look at pictures and I read something, and then I interpret my own meaning out of it, and I channel whatever the fuck wants to channel through. And the alchemical process, like there's steps, and then I know one of them's like fire, and then death, and then it's like hell. It goes through hell, and then it's like you look at the Bible, and the Bible talks about hell, and I'm like, is the Bible just an extended version of alchemy? Has anyone ever thought of that? Can we talk about this? Can someone please talk about this with me, because I feel like it is, and hell and Satan and Lucifer and Pluto, it's all like death. But like, we need that. We can't avoid that. And when you do avoid that, you're creating separation from yourself, because we are all these elements, and we are all these things, and we are alchemy in this alchemical process. And to deny any of that is to deny yourself, and it's creating separation from yourself. And what if we just all accepted it? And this is a different tangent, but I sometimes just go off and lose myself. But I think that's the point. That is the point, is to go off and lose yourself. But I just went through this whole process of returning back to the process of nature. And that's how I want to live. And I want to tell everyone, and I want to share and give you a reflection of my experience and how it's benefited me. And it's really benefited me just returning to silence, to my little meditations, and returning to what feels good and where my answers come from instead of other people's answers. And I have my own process. I think everyone does best when they follow their instincts and their own lineage. I work with my ancestors a lot, and I work with other things, and I I keep those kind of on the DL, just because it's what works for me, and I've found it through my own way. And I am not here to tell you what's right and wrong. I'm just here to share my experience and maybe inspire you to go find your own. But if you are someone who's like feeling like a little lost, I guess I'll just plug this in here. I am someone who can guide you into kind of finding your way into returning to yourself and what practices work for you. Because, I personally think meditation is for everyone. I think meditation and journaling are two things that are for everyone, but it just might look different for everyone. And I personally work with an altar. And is altar work for everyone? I don't know, but that's what works for me. And I have other practices, and you know, witchy things I do. And I think a part of me last year was seeing everything happening on the external and thinking what I was doing was wrong because, everyone has their own opinion and I have my own opinion too. And I really don't want to come off ever thinking that my opinion is right or your opinion is wrong. But it's so interesting because I was looking at other people's quote unquote opinions or way of life and I was comparing them to mine. And then I was like, well, what I do is wrong. Wait, am I not allowed to call myself a witch? Am I not allowed to work with my ancestors because Jesus is the only savior? And I'm just like, it's just this whole group mind virus. And I really, the main point of this is to just not get fucking lost in that, you guys. Like, that is the detrimental part of the human experience, is thinking that you are wrong because you're like comparing yourself to others, or you start to feel bad about what you do. And I really, at this point, there is no right or wrong. It's just what feels good. I mean, granted, okay, that's a very broad term because if you're out murdering anyone or like, I don't know, doing methamphetamine, like maybe you shouldn't do that, but who am I to say that's right or wrong? I am not God. Did you know that? Did you know that? I am not God. I might have come from God. I might be a fractal of God, but I am not God. So I can't tell you what's right or wrong. I could only share what's right for me and maybe give you a reflection of what I think maybe could help you. I don't fucking know anymore. Honestly, the more I know, the more I don't know. I don't want to know anything anymore. I know too much, I've seen too much, and I just want to stop. I want to be a human. I want to enjoy my life. And how that is for me is to feel and experience. And that was the lesson in 2025. And I really want to share that I'm doing really, really good right now because I just want to say it. I feel really fucking good right now in my life and I'm really happy. And I think the word is fulfilled. I feel fulfilled. And that was one of the words on my vision board last year. Well, the main word was confidence. And it's so funny because I gained all this confidence by being handed lessons that made me really not confident, or that made me had to fucking step into my confidence by showing me what I didn't want. And I think I completed last year with a lot of confidence and a lot of safety in myself and a lot of excitement. I'm really happy and excited. And the most excited thing I'm excited about is the community that I've found. And it's funny, as soon as you start dropping these limiting beliefs or these stories that don't serve you anymore, how not only do you start to be fulfilled by yourself, you return to yourself, but your soul tribe, your family, returns to you and you start to find your people. And I'm being reflected by really amazing human beings right now, and we're all just a mirror. And the mirrors that are showing up in my life are really fucking awesome. And I feel really grateful that I am in a place that is so abundant in that. And I do feel really abundant. And this is not a brag. Actually, you know what this is? I'm bragging. I'm flexing. Fuck all you. I'm abundant. And no, I'm excited and I'm happy. And I'm sharing this because if you listen to my earlier podcast, it was not this at all. I was spiraling. But that spiral led me all back to myself. And so I'm really excited for 2026 because I just made my cute little vision board and I changed the color. And oof, my review of my last year vision board, I'm not kidding you, I kind of outblew my expectations. I completed every single thing on that except for one thing, which I'm sure you can guess what that one thing is because I'm still single. But um there's this one thing that was on there and I cannot believe it, but it hit at the 11th hour. And that's when God strikes. He strikes at the 11th hour. And I'm like looking at this and I'm like, holy fuck. I won't share it because it's going to be a bigger vision for me in 2026. But I'm like, I can't believe you did it. Like, Taylor, I can't believe you did it. But God, like, I can't believe you did it. Like, we did it. Anyways, I won't give too many details on that, but going into next year, so last year's word was confident, and next year's word is loyalty. And, intuition doesn't always make sense. It's not always logically correct at first. And then, I am someone who I feel you can pick a word, but this word kind of just came to me. Like I channeled it. I channeled this word, and I was on a run, which running is one of my, talk about meditations. Like when I run, I swear that is when I get the most downloads. I don't know if it's my endorphins, if it's like the meditative state when you're running, something about it. Maybe it's putting your body in pain and a little uncomfort, and you have no other choice but to breathe. But I was on this run and it was freezing outside, so talk about pain. And I was just like, what is 2026? What is my word? And the word loyalty came through. And I was like, what? Loyalty? Who am I going to be loyal to? What am I going to bow down to fucking people? Like, aren't I returning to myself this year? And then I was like, oh, loyalty to myself. That is good. It's like devotion, but like loyal. Like loyalty is kind of like this poetic, renaissance-y, like king and queen vibes to devotion. I mean, devotion is such a beautiful word. I love that word, but loyalty is like, I don't know, it reminds me of royalty, and that, I'm a fucking renaissance bitch. Are you kidding? Like, I wrote a fucking poetry book about ethereal love. Like, how more renaissance-y can you be? And I was like, loyalty feels really good. And so that word came to me, and it didn't really register until like a few moments later, when I just felt what it felt like to sit with loyalty. I didn't try to put words to it. I just felt what it felt like. And so that feels really good to me. And I hope it inspires you to kind of find your own word. And what do you want in 2026? What does everyone want? Like, what is best for you, I believe, is best for everyone when it doesn't involve, like, I don't know, like doing drugs and like, like the harmful shit. But if you're happy, you're going to make those around you happy. And I feel really happy right now. And I want to make others around me happy. And I want to inspire others to be reminded that they are the creators of their life and they can change in any fucking moment. And the suffering is part of the process. And if you're suffering right now, I really commend you, and I encourage you to just sit with it and to not try to push that suffering away, but to really honor it and feel what it feels like to suffer. Because again, everything is such a process and natural rhythm. And if you sit with that and you allow it to process, you allow it to alchemize, you will come through. Nothing is forever. Hate to break it to you. I mean, well, nothing is forever. Our souls are eternal, but our experiences are not forever. And so to sit and honor and feel what's coming through, like I almost miss the suffering I went through or the pain and the heartache I went through when I was writing poetry, and I just would cry and just feel this depth in my heart. It's like you start to almost miss it because it gave you such a depth and a feeling, and to create art through that, and to look at this book I created, or to look at a painting or fucking music I wrote, music written, whatever you want to call it. That's an alchemical process. And if you didn't sit with that, you wouldn't be able to create with that. And I'm really happy I'm in a good place right now, and I'm almost like, well, what can I create from happiness? Like, this will be a different podcast, but it's almost like this poetic pitfall, or the artist's pitfall. It's like, are we addicted to our wounds because they gave us something to feel? I'll leave you with that, but I just wanted to share my life update and what's inspiring in the moment. And I guess what is inspiring me in the moment is myself, obviously, and community. Everyone, whether I agree with them or not, or whether they're preaching what I'm seeking, I'm inspired. I'm inspired by everyone around me. I want to hear and see and feel everything. I want to feel everything. And I just want to be an inspiration for you. And if I can inspire you to do one thing, it's to find a practice that brings you home to yourself. Is it meditation? Is it journaling? Is it listening to music? Hopefully, it's music that's not infiltrated by dark forces, but if it is, wear your spiritual protection. Um, Anyways, just go listen to some good music. I've said that a few times at the end of my other podcasts, and I think it really hits because that's how I channel, that's how I find myself in my home, is the frequencies that penetrate my body. They make me feel myself again. So, anyways, we're back, baby. Oh, actually, I'll leave you with this other thing. Since I'm updating you. I'm going to India. I'm talking about being inspired by others and living through others' eyes. I'm going to India. I'm going to be on a 5-week journey starting at the end of January. So if you don't hear from me, if you don't see me on the socials, I'm going to be in an ashram in India. So that's that. I adore you. Thank you so much for being here. And if anything ever resonates with you, I would love if you could share that with me. I really don't have never said that, but I really would love to hear how my words are hitting or what's inspiring you. And again, building this community because maybe that's one of the reasons why we come here. So, anyways, thanks for being here. I adore you, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.